Jai Mahamaya Ki Jai, Bole Baba Ki Jai. In our last discourse, we read about the demise of Nishumba, the younger brother of Sumbha. We'll go on with chapter 31. Vedavyasa said, "O king, Sumbha, the lord of the demons, hearing the words of the soldiers, began to say then, with eyes rolling with anger. Sumbha said, 'O fools, what are you saying all this? How can I do this unspeakably mean act and then hope to live? How shall I be able to roam in this world when I have become the cause in the slaying of my brother and my ministers? Time is the more powerful cause of all that takes place, good or bad. So when this formless time is the supreme ruler, what use is there in my brooding over the results? Let whatever comes that is inevitable come. Let whatever be done that is destined to take place, death or life, I do not think of either. The more or so, then, time is never able, even when worshipped, to thwart off death or life when their proper moments arrive. See, the gods of rain give us rain in the rainy season, but it is seen that sometimes it does not rain in the month of Savan, which is the rainy season, whereas it rains sometimes in the other months that are not rainy season. Therefore, it is evident that time is not the chief factor. Fate is stronger than time. Time is merely the instrumental cause. It is this fate that has created all this universe. It cannot be rendered otherwise. I consider fate as supreme. Fie on this one's own exertions, for lo, Nishumba, who had before conquered all the Devas, is slain today by an ordinary woman. Alas, when Ratabija too had been slain, how can I desire to hold on to my life, foregoing all my name and fame? Even Brahma, who has created all this universe, will not sooner come to an end than his longevity expires. 4,000 yugas constitute one day of Brahma, and in that one day 14 Indras perished. So twice the life of Brahma constitutes the life of Vishnu. Similarly, twice the life of Vishnu constitutes the life of Lord Shiva. And when their longevity expires, they come to an end. This visible earth, mountain, sun, and moon, all will perish. So it has been specifically ordained by destiny. Therefore, O fools, I do not care a bit for the death. When a being is born, he must die. And when anyone dies, he will be born again. There is no doubt in this. So one ought to preserve one's name and fame, which is more permanent in this transitory body. Prepare my chariot. I will go today to the battlefield. Let victory or defeat come what it may, as fate has ordained. I will soon go to fight." Thus saying, Sumbha mounted on the chariot quickly and went where the Devi Ambika was staying. When the fourfold army, cavalry, infantry, chariots, horses, and elephants, and innumerable soldiers followed him with weapons in their hands. Going there to the Himalaya mountains, he saw the Divine Mother sitting on her lion. She appeared so lovely as if to enchant the three worlds. Her body was decorated with various ornaments. All the auspicious gems were manifest. The Devas, Gandharvas, Yakshas, Kinnaras in the heavens were all worshipping her with hymns and flowers. And the Devi was making beautiful sounds with bells and conches indicative of her victory. Seeing her, Sumbha was very much enchanted with passionate love and struck with the 5 arrows of Cupid. And he thought thus, how wonderful is her lovely countenance. See how wonderful and amazing in her skillfulness, delicacy, and capability to endure the hardships of war, though quite contrary to each other, are both in her. What a wonder is this! Her body is extremely delicate, and limbs are thin and lean. Besides, she is lately blooming into womanhood. Still, she does not feel any passion. This is undoubtedly very wonderful. She is exquisitely beautiful. That can be desired of one's mind. And though she is endowed with all the auspicious signs, yet she has no inclination for all the pleasures and allurements of the world, and is now slaying the powerful demons This is wonderful indeed. Now, what steps are to be taken so this lady comes under my control? All the mantrams also are not with me now to bring over this swan-eyed lady unto me. This proud, lovely lady is the incarnate of all the mantras. How will she come under my control? The heroic lady cannot be controlled by conciliatory words, allurements, dissensions. It is not advisable, too, to fly away from the battlefield and to go to Patala. What am I to do? Where shall I go in this critical moment? And if I die at the hands of this lady, that death is not a glorious one either. It will take away my fame. The death in a battlefield is conducive to one's well-being, so the sages say, when both the parties are equally strong. The Devas have created this lady stronger than even 100 strong men. She is a woman merely in name. This lady is very powerful and has come here to destroy the demons. There is no doubt in this. What effect will conciliatory words do now? She has come to slay us. Will she be appeased by good words? Neither will allurements of precious things be of any avail, for she is decked with various arms and weapons, nor will it be of any use to sow dissension between the Devas and her. Further, all the Devas are under her control. Therefore, it is far better to die than to fly. Victory or death would come unto me today, as fate has ordained. Thus thinking in his mind, Sumbha became ready to show his strength and firmly resolved to fight. He said to the Devi before him, O Devi, fight, but one of delicate limbs, thy so much toil in vain. Thou hast no sense at all, for thou art doing contrary to the doings of a womankind. The pair of eyes of woman are their arrows, the eyebrows are their bows. Their gestures and postures are their weapons, and their hips are those of those persons who are skilled in amorous love sentiments. The dyes used in painting the bodies are their amours. Their mental desires are their chariots, so sweet, soft words and conversations are their trumpet sounds. Women have no other things for their war preparations. Therefore, O beloved, any other weapons are mere mockeries and ridiculous. Their modesty is their ornament. Impudence can never grace them. An exquisitely beautiful woman, if engaged in a fight, will look harsh, especially when thou wilt draw thy bow. How wilt thou be able to hide thy breast? When thou wilt run with thy club, where will thy gentle treadings go? O beautiful, thy conciliatories, thou counselors are this Kalika and the stupid Chamunda. Chandika is thy advisor. Her voice is very hoarse. How can then she be able to nurse thee? Again, this lion, the terror of all beings, it is thy carrier. Therefore, O dear, leave aside all these and come unto me, O beautiful one, that thou art ringing thy bells and dost not sound. O sensitive one, if thou likest to fight, better assume an ugly appearance. Let thy nature be ferocious and cruel. Let thy color be dark like a crow, lips elongated, legs long, nails ugly, teeth horrible, and let thy eyes be ugly or yellow like those of a cat. O Devi, assume such an ugly appearance and stand firmly for fight. O dear-eyed ones, speak first harsh words unto me, then I will fight with thee. My hand does not get up to strike thee with handsome teeth in the battlefield, who are like a second Rati. When Sumbha said this, the Divine Mother, seeing him passionate, smiled and said, O one of dull brains, why are you so much distressed with passion, O fool? If your hand does not come forward to strike weapons at me, then fight with the ugly Kalika or Chamunda. They are your better competition in this battlefield. They will fight with you. I will stand as a mere witness. Thus saying, the Devi Bhagavati said to Kalika in sweet words, O Kalika, your nature is fierce. This Sumbha likes also the fierce, so kill him. that Kalika, the incarnate of death, thus ordered, took up her club immediately and began to fight with Sumbha, as if sent there direct by the god of death. A dreadful fight then ensued between the two, and the high-souled Munis and the Devas were present there and witnessed the great event. Sumbha first attacked her with a club violently. Instantly she made a dreadful sound, broke down his chariot, glittering like gold, into pieces, killed the horses of the chariot, and slew the charioteer. Walking then on foot, with a very heavy club in his hand, Sumbha struck her with anger on the breast. And Kalika began to laugh. Kalika, in the meanwhile, rendering his strike useless, soon took up her axe and cut off his left hand, pasted with sandal and decked with arms and weapons. His left hand thus cut off, his whole body was drenched with torrents of blood, yet he came up with club in his hand and struck Kalika with it. Kalika too laughed, and with her scimitar cut off his right arm, holding the club and ornamented with armlets. Sumbha became very angry and came up violently to kick her when Kalika quickly cut off his two legs. His arms and legs thus severed from his body, the demon frightened Kalika and told her, "Wait, wait," and Sudi came up before her. Seeing the demon coming, Kalika severed his neck from his body like a lotus. Blood began to gush out in a continuous stream. The head of Sumbha, thus severed from his body, fell on the ground like a mountain. Immediately, the life left his body. Seeing the demon fall down lifeless, Indra and the other hosts of devas began to worship the Devi, Bhagavati, Chamunda, and Kalika, and chanted lovely hymns to them. The winds then began to blow pleasantly. All the quarters looked very clear, and fire and sacrificial altars began being circumambulated, became very propitious. On the other hand, those demons that remained alive quitted their arms and weapons, bowed down to the Divine Mother, and fled one and all to Patala. O Queen, I have now described in regular order to you how the Devi protected the Devas and destroyed Sumbha and the other demons. Those human beings on the surface of the earth that read this anecdote from the beginning to the very end, or hear it constantly, get all their desires fulfilled. There is no doubt on this. O King, verily he gets a son who has not got any son. He gets abundance of wealth who is without any wealth. The diseased become cured of their diseases. What more can be said than the fact that he who hears this glorious deed of the Divine Mother in its entirety gets all that he desires? O King, that man who reads daily this holy anecdote or hears it has never to fear from his enemies. In addition, he gets liberation after leaving his body. Here ends the 31st chapter of the 5th book on the death of Sumbha in the Mahapurana Sri Mahadevi Bhagavatam of 18,000 verses by Maharishi Veda Vyasa. Shri Mahamaya Mata Ki Jai, Hadakandashvari Mata Ki Jai, Vishveshvari Mata Ki Jai, Bole Baba Ki Jai.